Welcome to NCCU Football's Begreat series. Grit, relentless, effort, attitude, tenacious. A series solely designed to empower our student athletes for life after football and guidance in life. 3 different speakers, 3 different scenarios, 3 different perspectives, and 3 different backgrounds, all under one umbrella so that we provide diverse guidance and education to our student athletes. Yes, the season has been sidelined, but the student athlete development process must continue. This is the Begreat series. Do you have grit? Are you relentless? Are you willing to pay the price of what it takes to be great and reach that next level? The next speaker you'll hear from, the first time I met this gentleman was July 31st, 2007. We both were reporting to football camp at a school about an hour and a half south of here. First time I met this gentleman, his presence, I knew he had passion. I knew he had grit. I knew he was disciplined. Just based off the story and the interaction that we had, I knew that he would be somebody to bring to the football student athletes here and share his story with. He's the CEO of Capital Wealth Advisors in Greensboro, North Carolina, the president of the Levine Academy, all the way from Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. The next person you'll hear from is none other than Nazir Levine. Begreat.
NCCU, fellas, how we doing today? You ain't got to speak back. I know we virtually say it to yourself or say it to me, but we're going to have a little bit of fun today. The first question I got to ask you, this is the Begreat series, and the first question I want to ask you is, are you ready to be great? Are you ready to be great? See, I know we're in a waiting season. I know we're in a season right now where you're used to having them heads cracking and them pads popping right now, but you're in a season where you have to wait. But I can tell you, North Carolina Central football, throughout my life, throughout my playing career, I can tell you it's what you do while you wait that determines if you're ready to be great. It's the choices, behaviors, and decisions that you make while you wait that determines if you're ready to be great. So I'm gonna ask you a question again, and you ain't gotta say it out loud or say, you can just say it to yourself. Are you ready to be great? And Central, when I was coming here today, I started to really think, when as I was sitting in you guys' shoes, I always like to be prepared. One of the principles that I live by is the 5 P's. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. So as I was coming here, I wanted to be prepared and say, when did I ever get in contact with North Carolina Central? When did I ever understand what it means to be an HBCU football player? And I started to really think, Central, and I started to think, I said, you know what? The first time I ever even knew about this university was through my uncle. My uncle was a 4-year starter here, played here every year, started every year, Thomas Big Link Lancaster. So I was really familiar with Central. Lo and behold, my mother also went to school here at North Carolina Central for 3 years. So I had some experience with North Carolina Central, but it really didn't change until I started playing football myself. And I can remember a point in time, my senior year, the offers began to come in. And I started to get looked at by some schools, and one of the schools that offered me a scholarship was this exact university in North Carolina Central. And lo and behold, we was in practice, and at the end of the day, we was getting ready to go to war. How many of y'all know about going to war? Just by a show of hands. I know we virtual. You got to talk to me today. Just by a show of hands, just show me how many of y'all used to going to war on Friday, Saturday. You got to be used to it. Okay. So one of the things I really want to tell you guys is we was getting ready to go to war. We was going over the little things, crossing our T's, dotting our I's, getting ready to go to war. Because one thing about being gritty, one thing about being relentless, gritty people do the little things. Gritty people make sure you do the little things each and every day. So I can remember being in practice, and lo and behold, my coach told me, he said, you know what? Central's gonna come to look at you today and talk to you today, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. I'm in practice, going over everything. Coach pulled me to the side. North Carolina Central come in the building, and Coach Hope was real good friends with and knew the AD here at that time, which was legendary Bill Hayes. If you don't know who Bill Hayes is one of the winningest coaches, athletic directors in HBCU history, and at this time he was the athletic director at North Carolina Central. And lo and behold, I look back, I thought it was going to be a GA, maybe a coach, somebody that come in, an assistant coach, but lo and behold, when I look back, it was Bill Hayes himself. Now, the first thing I'm thinking, North Carolina Central, I'm a little perplexed. I'm perplexed with everything that's going on because I'm thinking, man, I thought they was going to maybe send an assistant coach, maybe a GA, and things of that nature. But here it was, the head athletic director at the top of the chain. At this time, North Carolina Central was one of the biggest, baddest HBCUs in the land. In the midst of being back-to-back CIAA champions, 2005, 2006 at this time. He had every reason to sit at home. He had every reason not to do the little things, but here he was in the field recruiting some of the best talent in the field. Why? He was gritty. He was willing to do the dirty work. He was willing to do the little things, and that's what it means if you want to have grit in your life. So I look back, I was perplexed. Man, you got the guy at the top still playing and working like he's starving, and you wonder why he at the top. And lo and behold, when Bill Hayes started talking to me, he started telling me some things, North Carolina Central, and I thought he was going to be just like every other college recruiter, to come in and tell you how good the program is, come in and tell you how good, how many rings he got, how many championships he got. But Bill Hayes did it differently here at this exact same university. He didn't show me his story. He didn't show me his glory, He showed me the story. Not the story of his life, but the story and the little things in regards to what he does behind the scenes to be a great athletic director and be a great coach. And lo and behold, he pulled me to the side. He asked me 3 questions. And these was 3 questions that I'd never forget, maybe 4. He pulled me to the side. He said, big fella, he talked with a slow drawl when he talked. He said, big fella, have you ever been bit by a bear? I was perplexed. I said, no, sir. He said, have you ever been bit by a lion? I said, no, sir. He said, well, let me ask you this. Have you ever been bit by an elephant? I said, no, sir. And then he asked me one last question. He said, have you ever been bit by a mosquito? I looked at him, NCCU. I said, yes, sir. He said, that's the point. It's the little things that'll always come back and bite you. And you wonder why he was at the top of the chain. You wonder why he was the best of the best at this time. Why? Because his attention to the gritty things, the little things that most people aren't willing to do. So it was at that point in my life, my first real introduction with North Carolina Central as a man, where I understood the importance of grittiness. I understood the importance of being relentless. I understood the importance of doing the little things. And it was at this point in time where I began to understand how valuable this was. See, people come up to me all the times in CCU, CEO, president, founder of my own company, Capital Wealth Advisors, also founder and president of my own personal development agency, Levine Academy. And people ask me, Nas, what's the secret? What is the secret? Knowing my story. A lot of people know my story and where I come from. What's the secret of being where you are now? What is the difference from where you are to where you are now? What is the secret? And they always say they talking about me because they know in the issues what I went through. Being in foster care in my early years, seeing my mother incarcerated, no father figure. My father died when I was an infant. My father pushed more bricks than a construction worker, and I ain't talking about them bricks you build houses with. So I came from a very marginalized environment. And so people always ask me, how did you get from here to there? And I always tell them, I don't know if there's some big secret, but I can tell you it's 3 Ds that I've always lived by. And these were the 3 Ds that have carried me not only on this football field, not only in the classroom, but also in the game of life. And those 3 Ds, I say, you know what? I've always been dedicated. I've always been disciplined in CCU. And I've always been different. See, it's your reason why that's going to keep you dedicated even when it hurts. It's your reason why that's going to keep you in it even when it don't feel good. It's your reason why that's going to keep you running sprints when you're dead tired. It's your reason why that's going to get you up every morning for weights. What is your reason why? Just by a show of hands, I know we're virtual. I know y'all looking at me. Just by a show of hands, I want you to think about your reason why. I want you to think about a reason beyond this game that you play this game at a high level. See, it's got to be deeper than the game. I played deep. I played for a reason that was deep. I was playing for a way out. I was playing for an opportunity to make all my dreams a reality. So at the end of the day, making my mother proud, I had a reason why. It's your reason why that's going to keep you in something long after everything is telling you to quit. So my question is, you got to have a reason why. And lo and behold, everything began to come true. And I never knew that my reason why, my dedication, and I tell people all the time, young people, it's going to help you on the football field and it's going to help you in life. See, when I was 16 years old, I played football on Friday night, and many of my teammates didn't know I was waking up Saturday morning visiting my mother behind a jail cell. I wanted to make her proud. I wanted to make sure that at the end of the day, I could be hope and inspiration, because at the end of the day, she was struggling with the things that she was going through. I can remember listening to Dear Mama by Tupac, and he would always say, even though my mama was a crack fiend, she always was a black queen. So even though my mother, who had a drug addiction herself, struggled with crack cocaine on and off throughout my whole life. And so even though it was this moment where people maybe outside saw a crack fiend, all I saw was a black queen, in the words of Tupac. So I just wanted to make her proud. I just wanted to be something different. I wanted to change my environment that I was in for my hero, for my mother. That was my reason why. It was deeper than football for me, and it got to be deeper than football for you. And so as I had this reason why, lo and behold, I knew this. I didn't know this dedication would help me on the field until one day, playing that made the Shrine Bowl, my mother was so happy. And lo and behold, I never knew I would need this reason why, even beyond football. 2007, I got a phone call. 3 words, North Carolina Central, that I'll never forget. My older brother called me with tears in his eyes. He said, "She gone, bro." I looked at him. I had 15 missed calls. I said, "Central, who gone?" He said, "Mom gone." And I can remember pulling up to the scene, ambulances everywhere, and I saw them remove my mother's body, lifeless body, right before my eyes. And it was at this moment, it was at this time where that reason why had to get deeper. Because here I was questioning God, why'd you have to take her? I don't have a father, you take only thing I have left. And it was only my reason why that kept me in it. And I want to tell you something right now. It's your reason why that just keep you in something. Even when you get 1,000 no's, can you still believe in that one yes? Even when your dream is, can you stick with a dream, Central, when it hurts? Anybody can stick with a dream when it feels good. Anybody can stick with something when it's all right. Anybody can be a father when the money and the finances and everything there. But can you be a father and stand up when you dead broke? Can you be a father even when it hurts? Because these are the principles that you're going to have to understand when you get in the real world. One of the principles my mother always taught me, anytime I felt like there was a Goliath in my life. See, anytime there's a Goliath in your life, it's nothing but an opportunity to awake the David in your heart. Anytime there's a Goliath or a problem in your life, it's nothing but an opportunity to awake the David or the lion in your heart. How will you respond? She said, "Nazir, don't you ever say, why me? Why not you? Why not you? If you couldn't handle it, you wouldn't be going through it." So at the end of the day, I said, you know what? How will I respond? How will I respond with going from being the best, Shrine Bowl, East-West All-Star game, all of the above, to being third string at the back? How do you respond when you show up? See, high school, that's over with. I got to make a new name for myself. I got to be able to buy into what the coaches are telling me and everything the coaches are telling me to do. So here's a point in time where I had to rely on discipline. How will you respond when you play this game of football? See, this is a response game. You got to respond different. I can tell you guys right now, 10% of life is what happens to you. 90% is how you respond. 90% is how you respond. Oh, lineman, how do you respond when you miss a block? Do you beat yourself down or you come back harder? Linebackers, how do you respond when you get blocked? When you miss a tackle, do you sulk and keep thinking about it, or do you respond? How do you respond in the face of adversity? Because you're going to have adversity throughout the season. You're going to have adversity throughout the game. The difference between great teams and average teams, the biggest difference is they respond differently. How do you respond after a tough loss? How do you respond? Quarterbacks in the room. I know y'all looking at me. Quarterbacks, raise your hand. How do you respond when you make a bad read? How do you respond when things don't go your way? Running backs, how do you respond when you fumble? Oh, lineman, how do you respond when you miss a block? It's all about your response. Great teams respond differently. Many times people go through the same challenges, the same obstacles, the same problems, the same pain, the same struggles, but the only difference between winners and sometimes losers is how they respond. Do you respond with a why me attitude, or do you respond with a why not me attitude? So you have to understand how to respond. Successful people are willing to give up 2 to 5 years of their life to live the rest of their life like never before. They're willing to sacrifice. They're willing to put in the work. So these 4 or 5 years, are you willing to give up something for the rest of your life? Because the opportunities that you have on this campus won't be afforded to you later on. You got to take advantage of it right now. Gritty people, they have heart. See, you can measure a man's size. You can measure a man 40, but one of the things that you cannot measure is the heart. See, Norman Vincent Peale said in The Power of Positive Thinking that a man or a woman has the ability to put his heart over the finish line even before he gets there. And lo and behold, I showed up to practice every day. And at the end of the day, O-lineman, O-lineman, D-lineman, you really got to play with an attitude. That was the only difference. I played with an attitude. I played mean. That means I drive you 6-7 yards downfield, pancake you, get up, and not help you up. Why? I'm playing with an attitude. I heard about Dr. Miles Monroe. They said at one point in time, Dr. Miles Monroe said, what is the difference? Why is the lion the king of the jungle? Why is the lion the king of the jungle? They call him the king and he's not the biggest. You would have to get that to maybe the bear or something like that. They call him the king, but he's not the fastest. You would have to get that to the cheetah. They call him the king, but he's not necessarily the smartest. You would have to get that maybe to the elephant. So he don't have the size, he don't have the speed, he don't have all these things, but why do they call the lion the king of the jungle? One word, North Carolina Central, his attitude. The only thing that separates the lion from any other animal in the king in the jungle is his attitude. And when he comes with that attitude, with the roar of a lion, that means he gets the respect of the jungle. That's the thing about being gritty. The biggest, strongest, or fastest man don't always win. The man who wins is the man who thinks he can. That's what it means to be gritty. That means when we ran sprints in practice, I set it up in my mind that I wanted to be the first, one of the first. When we did drills in practice, I studied my playbook when every other player was playing. There was other freshmen and things of that nature that was just as talented, but I went and studied the playbook when everybody else was playing video games. I was willing to give up something in order to be great. And lo and behold, it's what made me different was not what I did on the football field. North Carolina Central, what made me different was what I did in the classroom and to prepare myself for the real world. See, when you get out of here, there's no summer breaks. There's no spring breaks. At the end of the day, you got to grind all year. When you get out of here, when you guys may have children now, you may have children in the future, when they come home and they say, Daddy, I'm hungry, you got to be there to provide for them. They're not going to know the excuses. So when you get out of here, you got to be ready for the real world. And it was the things that I did in the classroom that prepared me for the real world. See, I tell people all the time I was a great football player, but I was even a better student. 3.8 GPA my last 2 years in the School of Business. Business administration and finance degree in 4.5 years. Selected as one of the top historically black college scholars in the nation, according to the Thurgood Marshall Leadership Institute. Senior Finance Award 2011 Entrepreneur Award recipient. So I was proud of what I was able to do in the classroom. And I tell people all the times, at the end of the day, your degree is important. That's your goal that you get here. But you got to do even more. See, a degree will crack the door, but you got to kick it down. And I always say, I can remember going into the library and they would have to walk me out of the library. Late at night, they would tap me on my shoulder, the security guard. That's how I got a job doing security in college. He tapped me on my shoulder every night to walk me out of the library. And it wasn't that I was just studying formal education, which is great. Calculus, macroeconomics, microeconomics, all the things that I had to do in my formal studies. But I was also studying self-education, the autobiography of Malcolm X, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, all the things that I wanted to do develop my mind, because Jim Rome said it best. He said formal education is how you make a living, but it's self-education on how you build a fortune. But lo and behold, I can always tell you got to have a reason and a dream deeper than this game in order to be great. And I played with a reason why, but when I looked, I remember being in the locker room, I was putting my wrist tape on. I was getting my ankles taped, getting ready to go to war. And I can remember looking over my left shoulder, he wore number 52. And I saw a man and his eyes was bloodshot red. He had the eye of a tiger. And lo and behold, when I looked over, it was William Hayes. And I started to thinking about it. I didn't understand. I said, this guy is really, I don't know if he was tearing up, getting emotional, but this was the game that he really wanted. See, not like every other school, he didn't have the opportunity of playing on ESPN every week. That's for the Clemson guys. That's for the Alabama guys. They get a chance to play on TV, have a bad game, and recruit the next week. He only get one shot. He only get one shot. So the resources and opportunities, he's at a disadvantage. But one of the things is not what's on you, it's not what's around you, it's what's in you. What transform and change a man's life is not necessarily what's on you, not necessarily what's around you, it's what's in you. And this is the game. Hayes had something different in him. And when he showed up on that field, the opportunity to get a glimpse of his dream, playing on the NFL stadium, the opportunity to get an understanding. See, sometimes your dream will tease you a little bit. Sometimes your dream will show you glitz and glamours just to keep you yearning for it. And he got the chance to play on the NFL field. He got a chance to play on ESPN. See, he knew I only get one shot. I don't play on ESPN every week, and I want to show the world what I can do. This is my one shot to show the world that I could play at this game at a high level. He had to take advantage of it. So lo and behold, William Hayes played one of the best games I've ever seen out of any collegiate football player. Many people said he was in that other team's backfield more than their running backs. He played like a man among boys. And the reason why, he was playing with a reason why. He was playing for a dream. He was playing for that opportunity. And sometimes in life, there's only a few yeses that'll change your life, and he wanted it. And at the end of the day, the Tennessee Titans called up and said, we got to get this kid. See, at the end of the thing, some of the best things in life are hidden. You talk about diamonds, you talk about seed. It got to go through the seasons of darkness before it shines. So he went through a season when he was hidden. I don't know if either team slept on him or they loved him and was scared to tell everybody because they wanted to get him. But either way, he was hidden. Lo and behold, out of nowhere, the 4th round, the Tennessee Titans select William Big Plays Hayes from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And lo and behold, I can remember watching it and thinking about the conversation that I had with Big Plays. And I said, and I'm even thinking about it, getting a little emotional. And I remember saying it, he got his yes. He got his yes. See, one day of favor can eradicate 1,000 days of labor. One yes can eradicate 1,000 no's. And William Hayes, he got his yes. Went on to play 10 or 11 years in the NFL. God came from humble beginnings. All I ever saw him with was a gallon of water, flip-flops, bowling shorts, and a Honda that was smaller than he was. I always say, I don't know if I'm scared to get hit by him or the Honda. And lo and behold, he got his yes. Even when the resources wasn't in his favor. Even when the exposure wasn't in his favor. Even when he didn't have the opportunity like the Clemson or the Alabama guys to play on TV every week. He took advantage of the few opportunities that he had and changed the trajectory of his life forever. I'm Nas Levine. I got my yes, not in sports, but outside of sports. William Hayes got his yes in the game of football in the NFL. So my question to you as I leave here today, what are you willing to do for your yes? And you may say, I've been saying it this whole time. One thing I can tell you, always be dedicated, always be disciplined. And North Carolina Central, never be afraid to be different. That's my time.